to introduce Emma Pechey to you from Procter & Gamble. Emma's been working at P&G, as it's better known, since 2012. If I'm right, Emma, you look after products across the oral care, grooming, healthcare and home care divisions of the business. Have I got that right? And this morning, as I said, Emma will specifically outline a brief, a real-life brief, that she would provide to her agency environments. So with that, it's over to Emma. Big round of applause for Emma.
Hi everyone, thanks for the introduction. Typically when we would brief our agencies, this could take up to a couple of hours. So with the threat of the ice bucket challenge, I'm going to make this really short and sweet. When we brief our agencies, we get everyone in the room, our media agency, our shopper marketing agencies, our PR agencies. We get everyone that works on the brand internally at the company in the room. And we go through a full year brief and we cover quite a few different segments that could be for any one brand. But for the purposes of today, I'm going to focus on one initiative that we are bringing to market. So Oral-B is the brand, and we are launching into the whitening category with a new product range called 3D White. So we've identified that teeth whitening has become one of the most requested dental cosmetic procedures. And what this means is that there's a huge gap in our market which Oral-B is currently under-delivering in. So today I'm going to take you through the Oral-B brand, just a bit of an overview of that mega brand, and then I'll take you through the 3D White brief, so the who, the what and the how. So a little bit about P&G Oral Care. So Chris was right, P&G is one of the largest, it actually is the largest FMCG business in the world. We cover most of the brands that could be in your home that you think of, but you don't think of every day, but you probably use. So about 80% of Australians have a P&G product in their home. We have a 21% global share in regards to oral care, and we're the number 2 oral care player worldwide. We have a market presence in over 160 countries, and we're the leading brand in oral care in the US, Canada, Italy, and Germany. So this is our equity pyramid. I'm not going to go through it, it's quite detailed, and really this is about the Oral-B mega brand, and today we're focusing on something which is a new subcategory. But I just wanted to highlight some of the key points. So confidence is something in the equity of Oral-B that goes throughout. So you'll see that it says the overall equity is the confidence inspired by perfect oral health and beauty. And that resonates throughout quite a few of the building blocks that we constantly refer back to. So this is the takeaway that we constantly want the consumer to take when they interact with our brand. So let's touch a little bit on some of the global oral care trends that we're seeing currently. So when we look at global trends, there are things like the aging population, how are we meeting their needs? There's changes in diets, there's chronic illnesses, there's obesity. There's a lot of economic pressure happening in the world. Then there's this trend of the well-being trend and people wanting personalised solutions. So what does this mean for oral care? Well, there are trends developing in terms of people looking for oral care products that actually deliver on health benefits. And then also there's a prevention focus. So if people are living longer and there's more health issues out there, they are much more aware of what they need to be doing now to prevent health issues from later in life. So the implications of this are consumers are going to be more engaged in their oral care from now on. Consumers are also going to demand personalised solutions, and they're going to be looking for specialised products. So how are we delivering products that meet that older market, the ageing population and their needs? What about whitening, gum problems, sensitive problems? And we're going to need a lot more oral education out there for the consumer. So let's delve a little bit into the Australian market and the size of prize. So if you look at this graph, these are the 4 different consumer segments that make up how we define our consumer in oral care for Oral-B. So we've got the familiar, the harmonious, the purposeful and the passionate. So the familiar and the harmonious take up, the largest portion, I guess you would say, of the Australian consumer in relation to oral care. However, these consumers, it's like low engagement. It's, oral care is not a huge consideration purchase for them. They just go down the aisle, pick what they need. They're not brand loyal. They often pick what's, on sale, whatever. It's not a priority purchase for them. So we're not going to really focus on them. Where we have focused all of our marketing and our product initiatives in the past has been with the purposeful consumer. So the purposeful consumer is one that is highly driven by health. So they are looking for their oral care products to deliver beyond just, a toothpaste. They're really looking for it to promise something that will deliver a health benefit. And they're very much influenced by dentists or, professional recommendations. So a lot of our products with oral care, we have claims like 9 out of 10 dentists recommend, and a lot of our products, claim to, have proven health benefits. But what we haven't been addressing is this passionate consumer. So the passionate consumer is 28% of the Australian market, which actually over-indexes compared to the global average. And this is a huge chunk of the Australian market that we're just not delivering any product that specifically speaks to them. So who is the passionate consumer? Oh, actually, I'll get into that in a minute, but just to give you a quick insight, the passionate consumer is much more based on image, and they're looking for products that make them feel good. So not necessarily a health benefit, products that make them feel good. So now I'm going to take you into what this means for Oral-B 3D White. So 3D White is a new category, a new product category, and it's a global initiative under Oral-B, and they're trying to establish it as a mega property, so like a new big mega brand. And it's going to be specifically dedicated to that passionate consumer, which prior to this we have never marketed to. Globally, Shakira is the celebrity ambassador. But what does this mean for our strategic objectives and the rationale for the Australian market? Well, if we want to deliver on our business objective to be Australia's leading oral care brand, we need to better serve the entire Australian population, and that largest segment is the passionate consumer. So we've identified that our objective is to play and win in the whitening benefit space and gain 19% of that market. And we're going to also do that by driving trade across from our major competitor, Colgate Optic White, who managed to achieve an 8.4% share in only 3 months after launch. So now I'm going to delve into the who. So this is really the core of everything that we do and will be the base for how you develop your plans and response back to the brief. So this passionate consumer. If you look at this consumer framework, as I was touching on before with those familiar, harmonious, purposeful and passionate consumers. The familiar and harmonious, it's a very low involved purchase in terms of oral care. Their behaviours don't drive them to any sort of purchasing decision with oral care. They have behaviours that drive them to other purchasing decisions. However, the more that you go up the health spectrum, you get to the purposeful consumer, and they're very much driven by their health behaviour to make a purchase in oral care. And then we've got passionate on the other spectrum, who is all about their behaviour drives them about their appearance and their confidence. They're very externally focused and they're outgoing, and their smile is everything to them. So who is she? So in Australia, she skews younger. She's female and she's between 25 to 54, but as I said, she skews younger. She has a higher family income. She's image conscious and externally focused. She cares about what others think, and she wants to make a great first impression. She puts effort into her health and beauty because she gains confidence when she looks and feels great. And she's always looking for the next best thing on the market. But what does she want? She wants a healthy and sparkling smile that people notice. So she may not be able to give up her daily coffee, that glass of red wine, or even cigarettes, but she knows that they're staining her teeth and it could leave her with bad breath. And she doesn't want to inflict that on people because that will ruin her image that she's trying to portray. And when her mouth isn't the way it makes her, where it should be, it doesn't make her feel great. And then she lacks in confidence. So she wants a product that whitens and removes stains, is fun to use, looks and feels great, and actually works, so that she's not stressed out about interacting with people and can do what she wants. So at P&G, we spend a lot of time and a lot of money really understanding the consumer, and what we do from all these studies is we pull out insights where we believe that we have uncovered something that's going to motivate a connection from a very mundane product that we use in our everyday lives, but drive them to feel that connection and then connect to our product. And we do this in 3 ways. So first of all, we've got the life insight. So this is the bigger picture about this person. So she wants to look effortlessly beautiful so that she can stand out in the crowd, but she feels like she's always falling a little bit short. What does this mean? What is the category insight? So for oral care, she wants a bright white smile so that she has a better chance of getting noticed every day, but there isn't any product out there that is both effective and effortless. And what are her key tension points? Well, she wants to stand out but doesn't want to look fake. She wants effective products that take effort and time. And she wants to be the first to try something, but she needs assurance. So then we take those insights and we talk about what are the barriers that we perceive that are stopping her, or that she might not then go and purchase our product. And so we've identified 3 that relate to the 3D White product. So efficacy. So this consumer is really going to wonder, do these products actually work? I don't really believe that they whiten my teeth. Isn't that something you get done at the dentist? You know, are you sure it's going to be effective if I do it in my own home? And what about safety? Will the whitening ingredient harm my teeth? Is it okay is it going to be too harsh on my enamel? Am I going to, you know, apply it incorrectly and burn my gums? And then relevance, like, you know, I've been brushing my teeth all my life with toothpaste and toothbrushes. Why do I now need this? You know, where does it fit in my life? And then there are shopper barriers. So then when we talk about being in the actual, you know, shopping aisle, you know, what is it that is either going to grab her or not grab her? So perceived irrelevance. So I already use a whitening system. Maybe she gets her teeth whitened at the dentist. They're all the same, or she might already be using Colgate. So I don't see any difference really. So why would I choose yours over another brand's? And then there's confusion. You know, there's too much clutter in the aisle. There's too many brushes. They're all promising something. You know, what does that really mean? I'm just confused. And then there's a lack of shelf pop. You know, she's busy when she's shopping. She doesn't really, you know, it's not really in her consideration set. So unless it stands out at her, you know, why should she even, you know, care? So what does this mean for the in-store? Well, she wishes that the oral care aisle resembled more of the skincare aisle. So oral care should really fit within her beauty regime. She wants to try out some of the products on the spot to check out how they could enhance her smile. And it's very difficult to find the right product for me. Every product claims something about whitening, but I can't really tell the difference. And I'd like to understand about how the different oral care products complement each other to improve my smile. And another really important part about understanding this consumer is understanding their digital behaviour. So they are huge digital beauty influencers. They're twice as likely to find and share information online. They talk up the category, they advocate products, brands and tips. And they quite often are motivated to go online through offline pushes, like through word of mouth, magazines and TV advertising, which is quite interesting. They're beauty advisors for their social networks, so they share things and their tips, and that's how they educate each other. And they'll share websites, blogs, discussion boards, and chat rooms. So this map is actually, I'm going to have to look at the big screen because it's quite detailed. When we map influencers, we recognise that a consumer can be influenced by a number of things, but when we really hone it down to address the passionate consumer, you'll see everything that's in green is what we've identified as an influencer for the passionate consumer. So we're talking celebrities, blogs, monthly magazines, events, I can't read the bottom one, beauty and fashion involved. But you'll notice on the other side, you know, she's less influenced by a dental recommendation, but she would be maybe influenced by a celebrity dentist. So I think these things are all really important to take into account when you're understanding what is it that is actually going to influence her and motivate her across the line to purchase. So now let's get into the what. So what is it that we're talking about? What is it that we're launching? So we're launching the 3D White product range. There's 4 products in the range. We've got the toothpaste, and it has a proven claim that it removes up to 80% of surface stains in 14 days for a whiter smile. There's the white strips, which are actually the hero product for the collection. These have a cult following in the USA. We've had stories of you know, beauty editors that do their trips over to the US and they stock up their bags with the equivalent of the brand in the US because it works that well. So we know that they're going to be a hit here. And they're so great because they're easy to use. So a few of the whitening solutions that are on the market for people to use in their home are a pen, or they're like mouth guards and they're kind of like awkward. But these are just like tabs, like strips that you just like place on your teeth, and they're hands-free, so you can like do your makeup and do your hair while they're on and activating, and then you just take them off and you're done and you can go. They also contain the same whitening ingredient that dentists use, so they're super effective. And then there's a rinse and a brush. Now, when you use this whole range together, we can actually go to market and claim through all of our marketing that the products will deliver a whiter smile in 2 days. So how are we going to do this? Well, our big idea, our communications platform that we want everything that you do to come off this is to stand out with a 3D white smile. So what we're tasking you with is to come back with an explosive, holistic launch plan for the Australian market. And we want you to focus on 3 main things. Delivering superiority, so showing to the consumer that our products are more superior in market. And there are 2 ways that you can do that. It's the whiter teeth in 2 days claim, and also the heroing the white strips, because that's you know, an innovation specific to Oral-B. And then there's the credentialing. We know that this consumer is highly influenced by a number of different avenues, so building credentialing factors into your response. And newness. We need to look big and we need to act big, and the PR and the social media to drive launch and excitement will be hugely impactful and necessary for this to work well. So let's just touch a little bit on the celebrity ambassador, because as I said earlier, Shakira is the global ambassador. I'll go through in a second what that means for the Australian market though. Some really key points on the celebrity ambassador is that you need to break the category norms. So there's no other oral care brand in Australia that is associated with a high profile celebrity ambassador. This is going to be something that really disrupts that category inertia, which is what Chris mentioned earlier. This is what we're looking to do as a brand. We need to break into this market and we need to do it well. So we need to do something really disruptive. A celebrity provides scale because you can use her across a number of touch points. And they also provide huge media appeal. So working with a celebrity ambassador, provides that opportunity where we wouldn't normally get a journalist to write about oral care on the front page of the Daily Telegraph, for example. And they provide strong influence, and that one visual, using that celebrity's equity could provide influence across a number of different means. So the deliverables that we need to see back from your response: address the trial barriers. Respond in regards to the celebrity ambassador and the credentialing, and provide a holistic communications response. So the PR needs to work with the media, which needs to work with the shopper marketing, that takes that consumer on a path to purchase. And the assets that you have are TV, print, and both of these will, you have the Shakira image, but you really need to assess that if we can't use Shakira for PR in Australia, whether that's going to be the right solution for the Australian market, or do you want to get a local celebrity? And then social media, we currently have a Facebook page, but we're open to launching other digital platforms. And that is it. Sorry for rushing, but I was given the time warning.
Emma, do you want to stay with me up here at the front for a while? We've got a little bit of time. I think for all of you who haven't been, out there in the marketplace, it's hard to sometimes dissect, synthesise. I often say in life the best trait you can have in PR, comms and advertising is the ability to synthesise complex information. You've just received the sort of brief that an agency in any of the three disciplines that we're talking about today or presenting to you today might receive. Why don't we throw it out to you guys with a roving mic? We've got about 15 minutes before I would throw any water on Emma. And I just asked Phil and he said, look, let's see if you've got any burning question. I don't want Emma to give away the game, but if there's a question to decipher or better understand the brief, no question's a dumb question, as they say, and that's the truth of it. Why don't you think about a question and we'll take a couple from the floor.
And, I understand, these briefs are, overwhelming. When we sit in these briefing rooms, our agencies often go away for a week and they do sessions and they come back with lists, and we have many reconnects with lots of questions and lots of qualifying factors. And P&G is typically, we over-provide a lot of detailed research and information, so it can be quite a lot to take in a briefing session.
Okay, how many people would be on a team for a project like this?
So internally at P&G, we have a brand manager and assistant brand manager, and then there's myself, the communications manager. And then we have shopper marketing, digital, but people with myself, so communications, digital, shopper marketing, we work across a number of brands where the brand manager and the assistant brand manager focus on their own brands. So we kind of jump in and out of different brands. So we probably have about 5 to 6 people internally at P&G from the brand side, and then externally, our media agency would probably bring about 5 people to the brief, but they would probably have double that amount working on it. Equally, we would have probably 2 people from our PR agency that would attend the brief. They're our most senior people, but they would have a team of about 4 that work on our account. But beyond that, they usually go back to their agencies and they get their agencies together and brainstorm and kind of deliver in that regard. So, yeah. And then depending on the needs of the brief, if there is a huge shopper marketing execution, then we'll engage a shopper agency as well, and that could be 1 to 2 people. So it really depends on the nature of the brief.
Just a comment on what Emma's presenting to you today too. Emma's right. Any agency in any discipline, you need to deep dive, what we call deep dive. You've really got to understand the business, and there's no way you guys can you know, even as you're just finishing uni, your degrees here or your courses, you'll have a full understanding. My recommendation is as you break into the interactive masterclasses, just think of a couple of simple things. You know, there's a great line in life, anyone can make something complex, it takes a genius to make it simple. The best thing it can teach you is just think of one or two things there you can take into the meeting. Emma, I'm sure, will always say that the best idea is the simplest. It's not rocket science. I know we all like to think that we're going to be these great strategists, we're going to come up with these complex ideas. Generally speaking, you just think about it, you're talking to other human beings. Emma's given you a good idea of the demographic, and you paint a picture of the person you need to communicate with. Just think of some simple ways of doing it. So, any other questions before Emma leaves the lectern? One over here? Great.
Why did you decide to narrow your target market just down to females in that age group, in that age bracket?
That's a really good question. It's not completely defined to that, so we're open to, I guess, expanding that. We just know that they will be the most engaged and the most receptive. However, if you look at the behavioural insights that we feel that this range is going to address and going to attach to a need that that consumer is looking for, I think you could identify some other consumer segments that would be open to, you know, that would appeal to as well. So I actually think that's a really good point that you've made. So while we're going after a very generic, we've got to think mass because we're a mass product in supermarkets. I think there's definitely opportunity in your response to the brief to see if there is a sector in the Australian market that may not be female, but that taps into those behavioural insights.
I mean, a burning question I would ask Emma, if I just give you a bit of a lead along, would be to say, is it mandatory that we use the key spokesperson? I think Emma touched on the fact that you've got to make that decision, but here you've got a global ambassador. Is it mandatory?
And I'll touch on that because, you know, one of the benefits of working with a big global brand is that you're often connected to big global celebrities, and that can be great. However, sometimes the celebrity may not resonate in this market, sometimes they might. So I think you've always just got to take a step back, really understand and put yourself in that consumer that we're trying to address and think about, in our market, is that the right choice? And also, if we can only use in TV and print, but we can't use in PR, is that really going to do what we need it to do in this market? You know, we're a challenger brand. We're trying to compete with the biggest brand in the oral care industry, Colgate, who have already launched to market. People are already using their products. So how are we going to drive that buzz and that appeal and that need and that want? I mean, PR plays a huge role in that. So I think that's the big challenge as part of your response today, is deciding that. And listen, maybe you want to just use that equity in TV and print and in store and then go with something else locally to drive that excitement and that connection, someone that's similar. But maybe you also want to create a complete, concise consumer journey so that when a consumer reads something in a magazine or sees something, you know, at an event, but then they see it on TV and they see it in the store, they make that connection. So I guess that's the challenge, working on a big global brand.
Can you put your hands together and thank Emma?